Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. It's your Coruscant Role Police Chief APGAINS here. I'm going to say something very controversial about the ongoing raid drama bullshit, whatever is going on here. On one hand, I'm quite upset at fundamentally what's going on here, but we did do a couple of videos a few weeks ago, 2, 3, maybe up to a month ago. I'm not sure about the timing, but it's been multiple weeks talking about this exact thing. So this really pains me to say, but in CG's defense, we were warned well in advance. For those guys who don't know what I'm talking about, essentially the Get 3 currency is leaving from Crate Raid to the next raid. It's going to be the featured raid. Excuse any inaccuracies that are about to come in my mouth. I'm not 100% sure on timing, but I believe that, the post that they originally did warning us about all this stuff was literally like the introduction to the Crate Raid. So I guess they pre-ran all of the controversy by like fucking 6-7 months. But I believe that when it was brought up to me on stream many weeks ago, and we talked about it, we made a couple videos on it, I'm pretty sure that was prior to even the announcement of the upcoming raid. It might have even been prior to the official announcement of GL Leia. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember when they officially announced GL Leia. If they announced GL Leia like less than 3 weeks ago, then it would have definitely been before. So I'm not putting CG at fault for like all of the current hoopla. I think I'm more putting them at fault for just my general dissatisfaction with this policy. I wish it was the fact that it would be additive rather than subtractive, if that makes sense. I would wish, you get your standard amount of Get 3 currency for people who've invested in your crate teams. But if you do the new raid with all the new characters, you can do all this other hoopla where you get maybe the same rewards plus a little bit, plus maybe some small tertiary thing that's unique to the raid. I would prefer that. I think most of you guys would agree that you would prefer that as well. But it just doesn't look like that we're going to get our way here. As far as the whole quote-unquote featured raid system, I like the fact that they're constantly rotating through because, yes, a lot of people have invested a lot into the crate raid, and I can fully appreciate that. But there are plenty of people who are just kind of outside of the crate raid was never really an option for a lot of people. And I think if they constantly are rotating through, especially if they are constantly rotating through and including characters that could already be had, I'm more okay with that general kind of philosophy simply because it gives more players who have less more rolls of the dice, more shots at having something. It's kind of like a microcosm of Datacrons. Like if there was only one Datacron set forever and ever and ever, like the people who have those things are obviously going to be at a massive advantage. And yes, you can farm it up, but maybe it's not necessarily a good idea for your Grand Arena or your PvE or whatever the fuck else you have going on in your life to farm those teams, right? Like how many people, for whatever reason, were farming Tuskens to a crazy degree, never to reach the point where their Tuskens were usable enough, even as a collective guild, where it would mean anything as far as extra rewards are concerned, but kind of got rope-a-dope, hoopla, boo-boo-boo, whatever CG likes to do to all of you people, scared into Relic 4, Relic 5, maybe they got up to Relic 6 Tuskens, and they're about to get Relic 7 where it's finally going to be useful, and the next raid comes out. So I am generally speaking okay with them rotating raids every 9 months-ish, simply because it might give an opportunity to more people who are newer to the game to have access. Like, I can tell you guys for sure that of the required characters for the new raid, I have more Rebels/Empire characters than I did fucking Hutt Cartel, Mandalorians, and Tuskens, and whatever the fuck Old Republic. So, and even if you rolled my account back like multiple years and millions of GP less, like if my account was half the size, I would still have more characters that would be acceptable and useful in the new raid rather than the raid that we had right now. So I think it's kind of a defense against raids that maybe have really unsexy requirements, if that makes sense. Like Jabba is nice, but what other part of the raid is like really outside of just the raid worth massive investment? Like Mandalorians, I would argue that Mandalorians past R5 from the vast majority of players is probably not a great investment. In the way that the raid, at least the crate raid is set up, is like, it's like an exponential growth as far as viability, as far as points are concerned and helping your guild and all that stuff, to where you're massively advantaged for most teams to have the Relic 7, Relic 8. It's like, it's exponential growth, Relic level 2 points. So, I mean, getting characters up to R5 does almost nothing for you as far as personal rewards, because personal rewards are not that great. And especially with your guild, if other people are, not taking everything to R7, like I talked about with the Tuscans, like if your whole guild has R3 Tuscans, you're not going to get a new box. But if your whole guild has R8 Tuscans or R7 Tuscans, fuck, I'm starting to get congested. Sorry if I sound like I'm like nasally. I'm just perpetually sick, apparently. If your whole team went up and took all the Tuscans to R7, like maybe if the entire guild did that, you guys would win less GACs and not be great in every other game mode, but maybe you guys would temporarily get a better box. And those are decisions that you're going to have to weigh. I mean, I guess in CG's defense, we didn't know the timetable, but we knew the rules of the game, the rules of engagement. So if you thought to yourself that was a good investment and you made it and you're getting shafted, I guess that's just the way the game has always gone. I feel like everything has its time in the sun and then immediately is no longer useful. And that's the way that they keep people spending money. And that's the way the game continues to perpetuate and continues to exist. And I guess we kind of just have to accept that. So to everyone who went crazy on anything other than Jabba for the crate raid, I'm sorry. I feel for you. I had a couple of videos warning you that maybe that's probably not the best decision to make, even if you get more rewards, unless it's like a concerted guild effort across the board to go R7 on some specific team. And hopefully you have a bunch of Rebel and a bunch of Empire characters, because that's going to be the way that you guys are going to be successful in this upcoming raid. So hopefully you guys aren't too beat up. Like I said, maybe I'm a little bit callous just because I pre-grieved, since we kind of had this whole conversation on stream and in a couple of videos a few weeks ago when we realized this. And I guess cue the CG hate, cue the APGAINS hate for being a little bit not supportive 100%. But I don't know. I think in summation, it's in line with how the game has always worked. And I don't even know, like, I need like a fucking PR person to draft my official statement on how I feel about this stuff. I don't like that it exists. However, I am past the point where I am going to be incredibly outraged right now about its existence. I think that's kind of where I'm drawing my line in the sand. I'm not a fan of it happening, but I'm also to the point where the fact that it's happened is not the end of the world for me. Like, this is not what kills Galaxy of Heroes, as everyone likes to talk about every time something bad happens. I think it's going to be the case now and forever that farm teams that are good in Grand Arena and teams that are going to be good forever, farm your core 8, do all that sort of stuff, farm your auxiliary, farm your backbone, get a couple of Galactic Legends, and if one of them happens to advantage you in the raid, or you get an outsized return for an undersized investment in a raid, take advantage of it, but know that it's not going to have long-term viability, and kind of live with your decisions, and I guess we'll all be okay. So I don't know. All right, guys, as always, I love you, and I'll see you later.